Okay, he went to St. Lucia. I'm sure by the time he come back, he will now become Saint Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you know they gave him a night now. Now he's now Sir Tinubu. You know, gradually he's working his way to heaven. Going to St. Lucia.
The highest recognized position
by the country. So he's making every effort to make heaven. I wish him well.
We bring you some of the top stories every single day. Yes, every single day we go the whole hog and bringing you some of the headlines out of the daily newspapers and bring you some of the trending videos as well. So after the headlines on our dailies in the morning, just immediately we go over to the trending top stories, especially as it concerns videos. Some funny, some thought-provoking, some, quite interesting, and some also would make you want to react, all right? You know you can also react if you will. You could call by calling the number showing on your screen right at the top of my head. You can send out a WhatsApp message. You can give a shout out, just about anything you want to do. I would love to hear from you as always. So without any further ado, because it's a Saturday morning, because we don't want to really waste your time this morning, we're going straight into the papers we have for you this weekend. So we're kicking off on the Weekend Trust. Weekend Trust is an arm of Daily Trust. Daily Trust is the weekday newspaper. Then Weekend Trust is the weekend newspaper. So when you say Weekend Trust, it is not a different paper from the Daily Trust that we know for the week. So we have this screaming headlines ahead of the neck APC ahead neck APC dangles chairmanship between North Central and Northwest. All right, who pick it? Who would pick it finally? Would it be North Central? Would it be Northwest? And we've always seen that the North Central have been making a case with the fact that they have no specific stuff, specific position for themselves in the APC government, and one would wonder why that is. So we have the Weekend Trust telling us ahead of their meeting, APC is dangling chairmanship between North Central and Northwest. Who does it go to, and what particular zone do you think that APC should give it to? Should it be Northwest because of their numbers? 7 states with over the 6.5 million voters numbers. North Central really doesn't have the numbers that Northwest has. So everyone is looking at for how they can grab a few of the numbers from the Northwest. Who would it be? Who would you think that they would give it to? Let's see how that goes. Still on the Weekend Trust newspaper. A rat infestation claim at Villa was a cover for Buhari's illness, says Garba Shehu. I wonder how many lies that they have told us, how many lies still exist now, and how many lies, though, that they would tell us even further. It's shocking when I saw that story yesterday about the fact that the story about rat infestation of the presidential villa was a cover for Buhari's illness. I was shocked because I was deceived. I felt really deceived. And I thought that certain things shouldn't even be said after, it must have been done. All right. On what basis are you telling us that what you did some years ago is actually for a cover for Buhari's ill health? Why? What is the aim of telling us that today? Are you trying to, infuriate us? Are you trying to make us know what happened? Like, what exactly is the import of giving us that information? So one would wonder. Plateau court remands 20 suspects accused of killing wedding guests. 2027, more governors eyes Senate. Of course, you know what they say with governors. They just found a way to just relax themselves in the Senate when the opportunity provides itself. Still on the Weekend Trust, our lives as police pensioners. And NPCL considering sale of refineries. Ojulari speaks. Bandits kill 7 passengers, abduct others along Zamfara Road. There's virtually ain't no day that will come on this platform that we would not see one abduction, one killing, one invasion, one bad thing. And it's just so sad, I must say. Just so sad. I hope that we get to that point where we don't have to see all of those, and it's really crazy. That's all for the Weekend Trust. That's an arm of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And because it's a Saturday, We are going to do something along the lines of sports because Punch Sports is waiting in the wings to give us some of the headlines that they have screaming for us. We know that the Club World Cup is due for tomorrow. Chelsea plays the one and only PSG that is screaming with, busting with talent. And one would say, in fact, I saw a post the other day saying that they shouldn't play the final because it's going to be a walkover. But forget that Chelsea, yeah, that kind of team that you don't just beat easily, even though they look from the outset that they look like a club you could beat. But they are a team that you can't just beat just anyhow. But you have to be careful because they can be dicey. So on the Punch Sports Extra this morning, why I left football for civil service, Lagos HOS Agoro speaks. Let's see, Morocco, Zambia, quarterfinal sports. Wasteful Ghana held by Mali in Bekane. Let's see, Napoli reject new 70 million euro Gala Osimhen bid. Messi to return for what now? Messi to return for new Camp Nou ceremony. Anyways, I mean, once a Barca, always be a Barca, isn't it? All right. Let's see if we can grab more headlines from then on. Wrong goals, enticing transfer that went wrong for Nigerian footballers in Europe. All right. Let's see. You can find out the details. Quite an interesting read for you. Sancho wants 5 million euro severance from United. Olympic marathon walk holds today. Chelsea open to Jackson sale. Well, they have said that Jackson is a potential $100 million or £100 million a boy, and I really wonder if he is because if you watch out some of his misses, his misses have been really. I don't know what word I almost said diabolic. Like there are some misses as a very experienced player or a very experienced team that has this midfield that gives you football that you shouldn't be missing. But we see him missing those particular scores. But we just say he's still growing. He's not yet in the likes of the people whom he had taken their shirts. But we hope that in due course he'll be stronger and better than what he is right now. And let's see what we can do with the Nation newspaper this morning. The Nation newspaper, of course, has this NNPC sell Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries. Ojulari says all options are on the table. When you hear things like this, you know that fine. There's this air of these people are becoming serious about this because I really don't see how a government would run a refinery. It doesn't add up for me as someone who knows how government runs. I mean, government is just a place where people just go into and endeavor to make sure that the business environment is a little better for everyone to run. I don't really think that governments should be into running business. I don't think so. Bring in business people, give them the required atmosphere, give them the required support, and then allow them to run the business. That way, it is efficient. That way, you hands off and do other things because it's been one thing that we have spoken about for a long time. What in the world is government running NNPC for? Fine, we found a way of doing some sort of unbundling of NNPC, but still, we still have government putting its hands there. I think the sale of the NNPC refineries would be a very welcome development. Now that we are going into a private sector driven economy, Dangote is one. We know that Bua is also bringing their own refineries. I think they're establishing theirs in Akwa Ibom, Moso, either Akwa Ibom or Calabar, one of those areas. They're coming up with theirs. If we are able to sell these refineries to one or two or three investors, that way, and then we do this thing that we did with Dangote, more like that, the exchange of crude for naira. There is no way in the world that give it another 1 or 2 or 3 years because of the competition, fuel will be forced to drop, just like what we did with the telecommunications. when it was only MTN that was on board. Look at what they did. When Glo came, they were the ones that introduced per seconds billing, and MTN didn't have a choice but to introduce per seconds. And then we now have options. That is the reason why the prices of telecommunications dropped drastically. So when you have one person or government running it, I mean, at that time we had Nitel. So I just felt that look, it's about time for us to sell those refineries and then give them the proper, regulation, direction, and support, and let things fly. Frankly speaking, that way we know that we wouldn't have any issues with those stops. All right, Sanwo-Olu urges huge turnout as Lagos holds local government polls. 139 candidates fight for 57 chairmanship seats. All right, that's an interesting headlines if you ask me. Still on the Nation newspaper this morning, this is screaming headlines. 2027, South West PDP rejects Atiku-Obi-El-Rufai coalition. That's on page 4. Osun chair clears 3 senators, 8 reps to defect, rains curses on those who leave. Wow. Osun chair clears 3 senators, 8 reps to defect, rains curses on those who leave. Okay, that looks like a very interesting turn of events because we've seen a lot of display of movement in the north. We've seen the numbers in the north moving to the ADC, and then you would think that, well, it's looking like what happened in 2015 playing right in under our very own eyes. Coroner rules out foul play in Mohbad's deaths. Wow. Coroner rules out foul play in Mohbad's deaths. I'm still on the Nation newspaper. Presidency, no link between Shetima's statements and Rivers' crisis. Atiku-Obi-El-Rufai vows to probe Obaseki, accuses ex-governor of kicking states through consultants. All right. This particular headline is an interesting one. I mean, it's still something that a lot of people are buzzing about. Presidency, no link between Shetima's statements and Rivers' crisis. Yes, Shetima may have been giving, telling his own story, the way and manner that he viewed it at the time, without even knowing that he was. He may be innocent, right? He may be innocent, but trust me, it is tough. It is tough not to put it side by side with what's going on in Rivers. So many persons have read it like he has distanced himself from what had happened. He didn't know what happened. He wasn't part of the government or the agreement or the discussions around removing a governor. But he may have done it innocently, but you know how these things go. Media would always spin things. So it's possible that the presidency has said, look, there is no link, but then again, you can't tell us what to think and what not to think. All right. Atiku-Obi-El-Rufai vows to probe Obaseki, accuses ex-governor of looting states through consultants. One would wonder really why haven't you started the probe? Did it have to take a former governor, ex-governor, for you to take that step? Because there's a video trending right now. I think I have an excerpt from that video. I'm going to play back a little later. There's a video trending right now where in a meeting where it was more like a victory for the Edo State governor, a former Edo State governor, Oshomole, apparently told Obi-El-Rufai to that he has time now to prove whatever his predecessor had done. So he didn't have to take him to tell you what to do, though. I mean, I'm just saying, because again, sometimes these things can be distracting. Tinubu backs Afrima 2025 as federal government inaugurates LOC. NGE holds third Lateef Jokonde lecture, July 23rd. Why we reduce visa validity for Nigerians by U.S. Embassy. Find out the detail all on the Nation newspaper this morning. All right. I'm sure that you have a good chunk of whatever it is that we have put out for you. I'm moving now over to the Punch newspaper, the real Punch newspaper now, not the Punch Sports. And then we have this headline: Iyabo Ojo battles Liz Ajorin, threats after office fire. Iyabo Ojo battles Liz Ajorin, threats after office fire. Okay, well, we know that that's been going on for some time now. NMPC malls refinery sale after Dangote's verdicts. NMPC malls refineries sale after Dangote's verdict. Jitters in Osun, APC, PDP over Adeleke's defection plan. Ooh, where is Adeleke headed? Is he headed to the ADC or is headed to the APC? I mean, there's been this talk about movement. Everybody wants to just secure themselves, just like what Akwa Ibom governor says. He said, "I'm not weak. I don't want to disturb myself. Please let me just go to where I'll be fine." OMG. So it's possible that Adeleke is also looking to just, balance himself out. And the only way to balance himself out is to make sure that he goes to the APC and just relax. Relax, just like a Delta State governor. He really had nothing to worry about. Except on election day if things change, because you never know. Like they always say, 24 hours is too long a time in any election, especially elections across West Africa or even Nigeria. Flood alerts, panic in 20 states as residents vacate high-risk areas. Governor allays fears, residents demand better response plans. Environmentalists fault state over poor flood preparedness. Panic in 20 states as residents vacate high-risk areas. Government allays fears, residents demand better response plans. Environmentalists fault state over poor flood preparedness. Well, I really have not seen any state that is prepared, well prepared for flood. There's always this caught in the wind, reactionary move and motives, and it's just crazy. And because it's a recurring thing, every single year we know what states are going to be flooded. We know what areas are going to be flooded. I think even those who live in those areas should start making contingency plan every year by this time. All right. And even government too. There should be some sort of relationship between the government and the people, or people who live along the riverine areas, so that as soon as it's this July, August period, all the way till maybe around October, depending on the year, because we've seen rain fall up until December, sometimes. So at least we know that the thick of the rainy season is between July and then September. Then October, we know we see this the little slide, back into normalcy. So between June, July, and then September, there's a contingency plan for people to be evacuated, to be kept somewhere, and then afterwards they can return. So it's that easy. I don't know why this hasn't happened. And every time that flood happens, they will still have a humongous number of casualties, which is very, very unacceptable. It just shows how ill prepared that our people, our government, and even the people are. Because also we've heard that people sometimes reject any move to a higher ground or somewhere that is so much safe, because, well, affiliation to ancestral land. It's just that crazy. And still on other headlines, rejections forced me to take funeral home job. Lady born with one hand. Wow. Rejections forced me to take a funeral home job. Lady born with one hand. All right. Lagos CJ inaugurates tribunal ahead of today's local government poll. Ex-diplomats differ on federal government's response to U.S. visa restriction. Tinubu backs AFRIMA 2025 as federal government raises committee. By the way, for you, if you are in Lagos watching this, you can let us know what's going on with the elections where you are. I know that there's a measurable number of restrictions that's going on in Lagos. We know that people who are out to do their daily routine are not doing it because of the elections. So you can let us know where you are, what you're doing, and if you're participating in the elections, what are your observations? It's already almost 8 o'clock in the morning, and we know that by this time is either the electoral officers are already, close to their place of work, or are already at their place of work. So we should know what exactly is going on. So just let us know, if you will, via the numbers showing on your screen. know, showing on your screen, I guess. And also, you can send us a message on the platform. That's the YouTube platform. Remember, we're doing this every single day. We are not breaking for any reason. And of course, you know, this social experiment started on the 1st of July, and this is the 12th day in the month of July. I want to appreciate everyone who has tuned in, who has found us through the platform, the YouTube platform. We're going to continue with this. We're hoping to continue with, because it's just a social experiment to check how far we can go with this. Remember, it's for 90 days, and this is day 12. And this is Cheesy Media. Many thanks for being there for us. And in other headlines, Bauchi Governor Sanwo-Olu to speak at Jokonde Lecture, July 23rd. Bauchi Governor Sanwo-Olu to speak at Jokonde Lecture, July 23rd. Okay, it's going to be quite an interesting speak. The reason I say it's going to be that it's an interesting speak is because we all know Bauchi Governor is antagonistic to this particular current governor. It has said clearly over the time that Tinubu's government is a failure, and he would stop at nothing in doing collaborations or coalition in order to oust the current governor, the current president. And so I'm only imagining what it will look like with the two persons. Sanwo-Olu have also said this particular government is the best for the country. We're going through a patch, and it's just a matter of time for us to enjoy all of the goodies of life. So I'm only imagining what it's going to look like if Bauchi State Governor does his own lecture, does his own speech, and then Sanwo-Olu does his own speech. And I can imagine that will be a news-wrecking conversation. I mean, these days, it's during book presentation, meetings like these that people drop some bombshell, like the one that the vice president dropped some few days ago during the presentation of Mohammed Adoke's book, where he was saying how Mohammed Adoke himself stopped Goodluck Jonathan from removing him as governor, that he doesn't have the right, not even a councillor. And so many persons have started reading from the other end that, look, this man is directly telling his boss, you have no right to remove the Rivers State governor. So why would you think that anybody who is looking from the outside would think that there is nothing between them going on? I mean, so many persons have said, look, leave whatever you are seeing on the outside. These two have issues, and they're just trying to make sure that it doesn't, become a big issue in the public, just like what we had between Obasanjo and Atiku. In fact, there are some persons who have predicted that the vice president might most likely resign his position and move to the opposition. In fact, there are indications that he might resign. Some have also said that there are also indications that the president is also looking to replace him using somebody from the Northwest in order to get in somebody like Kwankwaso. And Kwankwaso have repeatedly said that he has, the president have reached out to him personally, and he has rejected those advances. So you never know. There's still something there. I just think that I'm hoping that it doesn't take us by surprise. At least let's be catching our breath whenever all of these things, tend to play on in our hearts and in our minds. All right, let's see if we can grab other headlines on our dailies this morning. I don't know if Guardian is giving us some good headlines. Yeah, I think it should be able to give us some good headlines on the Guardian. Guardian is screaming with its headlines. Why Sokoto lawmakers become chief promoters of Aliyu's second term. Bala Bolinga speaks. Idou's echoes of innocence unites APSA Alliance Française. All right, still on the Guardian newspaper of 2027. Everyone right now is talking about 2027. There's virtually no day and no time you would get on our newspapers, you wouldn't see something about 2027. And this is exactly what Siraki Dixon was saying some times back, that, look, we have now abandoned the work that we're supposed to be doing and then focused on defections and the non-defections. And even when the elections are more than a year away, right? The elections are in February 2027. And we still have at least 6 months of this year. So 1 year, 7, 8 months away. And we're talking about this now, which is not a good thing. 2027 elections, huddles before APC coalition as Nigerians weigh options. Indeed, it will be an interesting move. And I think it's going to be an interesting read too. So you can grab a copy, or you can just, get the headlines and punch it into your phone in order to read it from where you are. So on the other headlines on the Guardian newspaper this morning, NGE holds third Lateef Jokonde Memorial Lecture July 23rd. Shatima dismisses alleged rift with Tinubu, decries misrepresentation of remarks. I'm telling you, it may have been an innocent call. He may have been telling his own story, but he does not know the extent of how people would read what he has just said. In fact, I think you have to go back and watch that particular clip. It almost looks as if he was talking to his boss. Look, there's nobody with what has happened in this country. There's nobody that will look at that and that will not try to read the meaning or link it. It's not just possible. I mean, can you block people's head from thinking beyond what you have just said? Nobody would do that, but it's just that, I mean, it's misrepresentation. We've reported it. It's okay, but you can't stop us from thinking the way we're thinking, isn't it? So let's be where we are. Other headlines, Tinubu backs Afrima 2025 as federal government inaugurates LOC. Minister pledges partnership with Lagos. Academy of Letters induct Obi of Onisha. 2 journalists as honorary fellows. All right. Academy of Letters inducts Obi of Onisha. 2 journalists as honorary fellows. All right, as on the Guardian newspaper this morning, I hope I've done all that you want on the front pages of the headlines this morning. So it's about time for us to go to the visuals, okay? There's a lot of visuals that are actually going on right now. Let me see if I can start with the one that would give us some bated breath, the one that would interest us even more. At least we should start from Nigeria. All right. Remember also that you can always get across to us from wherever you are in the world by dropping a comment and maybe giving us a thumbs up or liking this video from wherever you are. Please do that if you can, and drop a message or two and then tell us, this is what you're reacting to, and we just want to welcome everybody from wherever you are watching us from around.
Now time to look at that there, for which everybody, tens of billions of naira will take it, and now we are going to go there and appreciate it. Now time to go to that. Now time to receive all of those goals that we have worked on, compared to the one I did that are still there. Those that don't want to, don't be positive. The only one who know it on the buses I don't want to do. So by the time your excellency now have time for the second of the match, but then you will have to come out from hiding to answer to this question. How do you got here? So that the future nobody will get here. Energy and everything required to keep our people. I don't think my podcast was going to that. I said, I don't need it now. When I go to a room, like somebody to balance the farm, I am not happy anymore. Once upon a time, hello! All the money died. I was told I can't decide by a commissioner of police. And I hope that police commissioner is not like giving money for working with me. Now challenge the person to come to a donation work as former governor.
Okay, so that was the Edo State governor. That's a former Edo State governor giving a speech during the, the point where they were having fun, happy about the Supreme Court judgment. But for me, I just felt that the governor should not, the former governor, Shomole now, should not be telling, Webolo what to do and what not to do. I mean, you shouldn't use somebody whom you allegedly is a godfather to fight somebody whom you really didn't go down well with. I mean, that shouldn't happen. I'm just thinking to myself. I know Bebola responded and said that he was going to probe him. If you're going to probe somebody, let it be that you are doing it out of the call by a civil society organization. I mean, you don't even have to have somebody tell you to do it. Do it because, of course, maybe you have found a reason to, not because you have won in Supreme Courts. Beyond winning in Supreme Courts, you are now saying, okay, you are going to probe him because he took you to court. You know, this is this thing about the Nigerian political mentality. It is just so bad, really. And I just thought that I should put it out there. Another video making the rounds that I thought that you would find really interesting is this one.
Mazima.
That's actually the prime minister, the current prime minister in Uganda. He's actually vying to become the president of the country, and that is one of the campaigns that was trying to launch people or tell people to get him on board. And I ask myself, what exactly is this mentality around, Africans staying in power and staying in power for as long as possible? Why is that? Why have we become so bad even in our way and manner of governance that we want to die in power? Virtually every Nigerian, every African leader, not even Nigerian alone, because again, even Nigeria will have our own fair share of people who want to stay in power forever. They just want to stay there and die there if possible. Even when you are sick, you are down, you are not feeling well, you are visibly not feeling well. Is it that there is somebody that cannot do what you're doing? What is in that leadership that you think that somebody else cannot do and do better than you? It's just so devastating. And there are people who are able-bodied, trying to carry him. People who are able-bodied, like you are able-bodied, moving him around. What is that thing that he's doing in terms of leadership that any of you who is able-bodied cannot do? It is just terrible. I really don't know, really. Tell me what you think, though. I'd love to hear from you. Send me also a message on this platform. I'd also love to hear from you. The numbers are showing on the screen right now. That's just above my head. I think it's to the right. Yes, I know it's to this point. That's at 0808-838-1010. Send us a message, send us a WhatsApp message, or even call the number. We would love to hear from you as always. There's another video making the rounds, which is quite a funny video. I mean, it is a funny video. Let me see if I can grab it and then let you in on it. We're back afterwards.
Africa. Foreign investment in Africa. Nigeria attracted only 1 billion. One
Yes.
billion. While Egypt
1.08 billion.
Whereas Egypt, as far as 46 billion.
Kenya also got 46 billion. No, it was Kenya that got $46 billion in foreign direct investment.
So look at the
in
difference.
Africa.
Look at the gap. So what was the need for all the travel?
And Barrister, in Africa, let's also remember that it's what you know that Nigeria ranks number 19 in foreign direct investment.
That is it,
and
now.
ironically, Nigeria is the giant of Africa, but ranking 19 in foreign direct investment.
So that will tell you where you are.
Where Kenyans, countries that are small as Kenya compared to Nigeria, are in top ranks there.
But in corruption, you are number 3.
That was just a report from just some quarters. It's not a global recognized.
Are you serious?
report.
Who told you that? Okay, you mean if they do the one that you recognize, now Tinubu will come last? I don't understand. No, he will come last when it comes to corruption index. Will he? Look at Nigeria. Look at where we are.
You're saying the president is corrupt, Barrister?
No.
Are you saying President Bola
No,
Tinubu is corrupt?
Okay, he went to St. Lucia I'm sure by the time he come back, he will not become Saint Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you know they gave him a night now. Now he's now Sir Tinubu. You know, gradually he's working his way to heaven. I'm going to St. Lucia.
The highest recognized position by
the country. So he's making every effort to make heaven. I wish him well.
The one that threw me off balance is the one that he said his Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gone to St. Lucia. He is now a knight. He's Saint Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's walking away. He's walking his way to heaven. Jesus Christ. I mean, I saw that I couldn't help it last night. And I thought to share with you. I hope you had your life. But again, let's also remind you that this is a channel for breaking news. This channel comes on anytime. Now, we have a specific time in the mornings when we come on, which is 7:30 all the way till 8:30 or whenever, we're done. But during the day, if there's a breaking news happening live, we would bring you those visuals, and you also have the chance to contribute by calling into the studio or maybe making a comment or so, as the case may be. So we are actually calling everybody to join us in this whole quest to be a hub for everything breaking news. We're going to do our best from wherever we are, because we can broadcasting from anywhere around the world, really. We can be in the Southeast today, we can be in Lagos tomorrow, we can be in Abuja next tomorrow. That is how, connected this can be. So sometimes too, we're going to be bringing you some exclusive pictures, some exclusive videos showing on this channel. So in the meantime, we're still building, and I just call on everyone to please help us to build something that is quite unique and a lot better right on this platform, YouTube. All right. Remember, you can get across to us using those numbers right above my head to get across to us anytime you wish. All right. Let's talk about the NMPCL. The NMPCL, the Ojulari is saying that, look, for the very first time, he's saying that selling of the refineries is actually one of the major things that's on the table, amongst other things that they're looking at. And I think so many Nigerians have also spoken about, the privatization of our refineries. I think it's about time. If you are going to deregulate that oil sector, you have to go the whole hog of deregulating virtually everything. So let's listen to the NMPCL boss, basically giving us an insight into what exactly his plans are for the refineries that have gone moribund.
And you've talked recently about rehabilitating some of the oil refineries. How is that going? Give us an update on the progress.
So our refineries, we made quite a lot of investment over the last several years and brought in a lot of technologies. We've been challenged. Some of those technologies have not worked as we expected so far. But also, as you know, when you're refining a very old refinery that has been abandoned for some time, what we're finding is that becoming a little bit more complicated. So we're reviewing all our refinery strategies now. We hope before the end of the year we'll be able to conclude that review. That review may need to lead to us doing things slightly differently.
Yeah. Could it lead to the sale of some of these refineries? Might you look to sell some of them?
I can't say that now, but what we're saying is that sale is not out of the question. But all the options are on the table, to be frank. But that decision will be based on the outcome of the reviews we're doing now.
Okay. Let me ask you about.
The painful part about this whole thing is that apart from the fact that he's saying that the refineries are going to be sold, or the cards is also on the table for selling, is the amount of monies that the people who were there before him just a few months ago. I'm talking about the amount of the amount of monies that have been spent in rehabilitating those particular refineries. I don't know if you also remember that a few months ago they told us the Port Harcourt refineries was already working. They told us the Warri refinery is already working, and then they were talking about opening the Kaduna refineries, and everybody was clapping. And all of a sudden, it happened that it was false after spending billions of dollars. And now the EFCC is telling us that the kind of monumental corruption in the NNPC that they have just seen, not that they have even started probing, they have just, how it is when you just preliminary take up an investigation, that the amount of the monumental corruption in NNPCL is mind-blowing. They haven't seen that numbers before. That is how bad it is. And then the same refineries that we spend those monies for are still not working. And the Dangote, who is a huge player on the African market in terms of oil and gas right now, is telling you that our refineries may not necessarily work. Well, for a businessman, he would want to say anything in order to bring down an NPC or talk down on the refinery. But the federal government must now start doing something directly, to make sure that they are serious about either selling it, or they privatize it. And one thing I also noticed, I actually want to say this with all sense of responsibility. We don't want a situation where Dangote will come and dominate that oil and gas sector, because it's also open to abuse, just like what we had during the MTN Nitel time, when MTN came and was just cutting our head. When you want to sell sell our refineries, be sure not to sell it to a company that is, somewhat hidden, because sometimes people will want to sell something to kill it, not necessarily sell it to revive it. There have to be a process of making sure that you are selling that refineries to the right people at a particular price, so that at the end of the day, we have them come on board. In fact, they should be giving a timeline of, production, of rehabilitation and or whatnot, so that at the end of the day, we don't see a situation where a Dangote might float a certain company, or might decide to, finance a company that would purchase Nigeria's, refineries and kill it, not to get it, but to kill it. I mean, we've seen that play out every now and then. But I'm not saying that was how he became very, very popular in terms of what we have in either the Dangote cements or his pastries or whatever. I'm not saying that but again, as a businessman, you would always think in that direction. But I'm just saying, for the life of me, that we should make sure that whoever we're selling it to must be giving a timeline that must come on board. And not just that, we should be sure we are not selling it to these people who would, want to kill it for us. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thinking. Well, we have come finally to the end of this particular episode. Apparently, these particular episodes, I don't know if you caught up with what we had yesterday. I think we came on again yesterday around 11 a.m. It was something about Peter Obi that was all about the place sharing food. I really don't know if you've caught up with those visuals. Let's see if we can grab a few of the content and the reaction. All right, we got some reaction from people who thought that there is really nothing to it. Let's play back. We'll be back afterwards. Stay with us.
And you've talked recently about rehabilitating some of the oil refineries. How is that going? Give us an update on the progress.
So, our refineries,
I want to be part of it. Thank you, my Lord. My Lord is you that I want to listen to. Thank you, my Lord.
And therefore, need the attention for service. Support those sharing food. Support them with the sharing of water and drinks.
Well, Peter Obi there caused a stir when he was spotted sharing food. Apparently, it was an event that he attended in Imo State, Umuchima, somewhere in Imo State. The event was actually an event where the roles are reversed, where rich people serve the poor. And so, because he attended, and he's, of course, a very rich man, a very wealthy man, a multi-billionaire, he has told us that he's not a poor man. So he did that not because he wanted to gather any form of praise, or maybe people should look at him and say he's humble. But he did that because actually it was an event that show that it's a jubilee event. It's a jubilee event at the time. They said an event that reverses role, where rich people would go and basically serve the poor. So many persons did not take it down very well. Moriah Brown of TVC actually made some comments around the fact that he was too desperate with what he did, and that the President Tinubu should give him 6 months to just rule. Apart from that, too, there are other people who thought that it was really a bad situation. I would like you to go and watch that particular episode. It was yesterday. And even one of the people who trended very, really harshly about this incident was Radio Guard. He made some comments about the fact that he hated that. I mean, somebody like of Peter Obi's caliber should be serving food.
Peter Obi was captured sharing food at an event like a common waiter. Peter Obi, at this point, your eye service is too much. Your desperation for power is too much. I pour you spit for face. Poor! Na mumu man you be. You are not representing Anambra men well. A whole you, Peter Obi, you dey share moi moi, agidi, tomato juice, pepper soup, gare, loi loi, abacha. For events, a whole you carry tray, they share food for events.
And you've talked recently.
Peter Obi, I am completely disappointed in you. Now, eye service you they do. Why are you so desperate for power to the point of sharing food at an event? Why, Peter Obi? Why? Some gullible Nigerians will come for me now. Is it not obvious that Peter Obi is clout chasing? Is it not obvious that Peter Obi is trying so hard to impress Nigerians? A whole Peter Obi, the former governor of my state, Anambra State, you are sharing food. You are sharing food like a common waiter just to prove to Nigerians that you are humble, forgetting that the Nigerians you are trying to impress, they prefer wicked men wey get swag. President Tinubu might not be the best president of Nigeria, but the man gets swag. And that's the kind of person wey Nigerians they prefer. Nigerians they prefer wicked people. Nigerians they prefer people where they mean. Peter Obi, from the look of things, you are not even fit to become the president. You dey too soft like woman. You too dey shake. You don't even get heart, you don't get liver. Why you go dey share food? You don't pass that level now. Come to think of it, with all the promises you are promising Nigerians, that when you become the president, you will change a whole lot of things. Poverty go stop, this one go stop, that one go stop. Nigeria will now turn into UK, it will now turn into America, it will turn into Canada. Peter Obi, when you were the governor of Anambra State, what did you really change? You were the governor of Anambra State for 8 years. You no do any work. Anambra is still the same. Now my state, people in Anambra are still living in poverty, unemployment, kidnapping, everything still happen for that state. So how are we sure that when you become the president, so you could change Nigeria? See, as you dey worship Nigerians, may they vote for you because election is at hand. You dey share food, Peter Obi. I am disappointed in you. I am highly disappointed in you. Now mumuma you be for sharing food at an event like a normal waiter.
The same party where we saw Peter Obi serving people, same event, there was a sitting senator too helping to serving people, sitting senator.